Well, we got camp set up. We're glassing again, obviously. Supposed to have another storm coming in tonight, or this evening. Supposed to already be here, but I think I got here ahead of it. And I'm tired, so I'm just gonna hang around camp and glass, and I'll hit it in the morning. And I forgot my tripod. For filming hunts and crap. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to improvise. I remember that one though. That's the most important tripod. Where's my tripod? The standing rule is it doesn't rain unless somebody from my family, my immediate family, goes camping. If it ain't raining, we ain't camping. Rained most of the night. And I heard a gunshot off in the distance. It makes me wonder if a bear came into someone's camp. Wind is swirling this morning. It's going that way, it's going that way. It's weird. The wind is just swirling here this morning. It's not a good sign. About 10 minutes ago, maybe 15, I heard a snort off in that direction. And then about 5 minutes later, I saw a flash of elk through the trees over there. One and then another, and they're going up the hill. I don't know if they saw me before I saw them, or if the wind swirled and they smelled me. The wind's been swirling like crazy. Usually not this bad. It's very wet. So they're moving very quietly. This is not like normal elk hunting where you can hear them coming. I think that snort, I think they smelled me when the wind swirled. And then they were coming this way, and then they changed direction and went uphill. I think that's just what happened.
today, this morning, the wind has definitely been my arch nemesis. Normally, from where I'm sitting, it blows downhill at a slight diagonal most of the time, which means that most avenues of approach, my scent isn't blowing into it. It's a great natural blind. Once you get in place, the wind is usually very cooperative, but not this morning. It was blowing this way, it was blowing that way. Every time I heard a noise, the wind would shift and blow my scent directly in the direction of the noise. The weather patterns is really screwy, and the forecast calls for 30-mile-per-hour winds today. So, that might have something to do with it. So, fast forward the clock to this evening. What I'm thinking about doing is, instead of setting up in that saddle where I normally do, and I very rarely see elk in there in the evening anyway, I'm thinking about glassing this evening and seeing if those elk come down from that ridge. If I see a pattern in their movement that is the same from last weekend. So if they come down from that ridge, then they're probably bedding in the same proximate location. Now, when they come down, if they come down, when they come down, if they come down during shooting hours, then tomorrow evening I'll set up on them on that ridge that I glassed them from, or that I glassed them on. If they come down at the end of shooting hours, then I have no choice at that point but to try an afternoon hunt, go up to the top of the mountain, and while the thermals are blowing uphill, and try to drop down on them in the bedding area, what I think is the bedding area, and see if I can shank one in its bed. If I'm right, maybe tomorrow will be more productive. So that's the ridge right there that I've seen them on. I'm doing this without a digiscope, so bear with me here. Yeah, that ridge right there. Now the elk this morning, I was down there and they went up. And I think they crossed over that ridge right there. And there's the top of the mountain up there. Now, last weekend I glassed them at the very last little bit of light, coming up right there. And they were going to the right. And where's that meadow? There's a meadow around here somewhere, a little small one, that I further glassed them in. That might be it right there. So, be interesting to see if they come across that ridge tonight. You know, it's crazy how one year can differ from the next. Last year, I think around this time, I had a whole herd of elk in this meadow right here that I'm glassing from right now. There was some sparring down there, and I was actually up in the saddle and coming back last few hours of gray light, and there they were. I glassed them from up there, and they're right around here. Now, I think I heard a bugle at about 2:50 in the afternoon, way out that way. The wind was carrying it. And I'm hoping to see a few head out, stick their head out over there, just to see if they're in the area. This is ridiculous. Sunset officially is in 17 minutes. And I know for a fact that the elk are moving right now. They are out right now, but I am not seeing them in this valley. If they were bedding back in here where I thought they were, I'd have seen them move by now. The only other alternative I can think of is that when you think that the vast majority of elk action around here has been in the morning and not the evening, not to say there hasn't been in the evening, but the majority of it is in the morning, makes me think that the elk are bouncing back across the mountain in the morning, back onto private. And then at night they come out. And when I see them in the morning, they're kind of working their way back. In any event, what I've been doing in the evening, setting up where I have been, has not been working for me. Figures. Swirling. It's changing directions quite often. I still wonder if the weather pattern has something to do with it. It's usually not this cold down here. If I hadn't had so many encounters with elk in this spot, I'd give up on it. Just because of the wind. At least this trip. I might. The hell is that? That thing is still yelping, but it's going in the opposite direction now. It's getting fainter. You have to wonder if that thing is wounded or something. That is just weird. He's still going, but he's way down there now. The fuck? It's back and it's above me now. What the hell? That thing was way out that way. Now it's up behind me and up there.
I swear it's just right up here somewhere. He was just around here. No, nothing. This is that bedding area I think it might be a bedding area. This is really deep timber, a lot of deadfall in there. This ridge kind of goes down that way, and then it drops down in here before it goes up again. You cannot glass this.
This is increasingly becoming the norm for archery. Thunderstorms and the elk rut starting later in the year. I remember a time, not too long ago, like maybe a few years ago, where it hardly ever rained during archery. Once in a blue moon, maybe. And you can go to sleep out here. You can go to sleep out here and or other places, and you could hear the elk bugling. I mean, I remember the elk were starting to bugle as early as July. Like, end of July 24th, thereabouts, right? By the time archery rolled around in August, the elk rut was gearing up. It was starting, you know, and then I could go out at 5 o'clock in the morning and I can hear them bugling. But I'm going to have to agree with other people. The elk rut seems to be starting later and later every year. I have heard 2 bugles this whole time, and they were very distant. And the only reason why I heard one of them was because the wind carried it. So is this the new norm for archery? Thunderstorms and little to no rut action. Alright, well, I'm gonna try dropping down in this suspected bedding area. I gotta tell my wife I did my best. Of course, the wind's going the wrong way. At some point, if they follow this ridge down and then cut over. Well, we'll just play it.
might be the first change of colors.
It's like the secret world of elk back there. I didn't see anything, nor did I kick anything up. I don't know. I could see where they had been. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to set up in the saddle. Anytime I've ever seen any elk in the saddle, most of the time it's been in the morning when they're crossing in from the next valley over, because there's a creek down there. Last weekend and this weekend are blurring together. The only difference is I'm using a tent instead of a hammock. Other than that, I don't know what the hell I did last week. Seems like I've been here the whole time. So, I'm gonna go out and glass for a bit. See if I see anything up on the ridge. But it's been a long thought of mine that it's a contradiction in that archery, in terms of opportunity and, you know, getting pretty dang close to punching an over-the-counter tag, if not punching an over-the-counter tag, for all that, it is still my least favorite season. I would gladly, in the time that I hunt archery, I would gladly, if such a season existed, which it does not, hunt with a flintlock. I would much rather hunt with a flintlock than I would with a bow. There's a buck right there. My camp's in there. There's a buck right there. Two by two, still in velvet. Oh yeah, he sees me. Of course he sees me. That's the epitome of lazy right here. I'm just gonna go glass the ridge, but I'm taking my bow with me because I know with my luck, if I don't bring my bow, I'll have a nice cow elk across this trail up here, and I won't have any way to shoot her. But if I take my bow, then I'll see nothing. That's how that works. You know, the reason why I'm saying this epitome of lazy is no pack. I'm not that far from camp. My normal day pack is about 20 pounds. So if I'm ever bringing my pack, it tells you how serious I'm taking things right now.
There's that buck again. I think that's the third time I've seen him this evening. Wind's blowing right at him, so I know he smells me.
Yeah, he's got his nose up in here. That boy's making the rounds this evening. I noticed on the ridge, next ridge over, big herd of sheep moved in. I think these coyotes are following that sheep herd around. Had a hard time falling asleep last night without the pitter patter of rain on my tarp. Heard coyotes off and on throughout the night. A lot colder this morning. One thing I didn't hear at all last night, and I tossed and turned through most of it, so if there were any around, I would have heard it. Bugles. Not a single bugle last night. Not one. So it's almost time to wrap it up this morning. But you might be wondering why I'm sitting in this particular spot. The reason is, this is I call this the saddle up here. But there's a draw right there. Another one right there. It's like a double draw. Now, I put a trail camera out in that direction, along that tree line over there, and I have seen elk come over there, and there's a spot over there I set up in, and I've seen elk come down from that way during rifle season. Now right here, you can almost see them to the trees, but I've seen elk come through here on that way, and I've also seen sign of them crossing the saddle over there. So they'll cross over there and right here. Now this spot in particular, hint, hint, I've seen elk come through here twice, coming from down that hill, uphill. Now one time I set up underneath that tree, and I could see them through the trees over there. That was a dumb setup. They winded me, and they rerouted and went right by this tree and down that way. And I was sitting here. The wind blows downhill. I got a good 20-30 yard shot if they come through this way. But they come through that way. The very bottom of that draw is 50 yards. So if they're out by the tree line, they're out of range. But at least from here, if they come from either this side or this side, I'll see them. And that is why I sit here on occasion. My other spot over that way somewhere is much more productive. But if there's no elk in this valley, or seemingly no elk in this valley, they either come in from way up there, up top over there from private, they come from down below through this draw, this quarter right here. Terrain knowledge. And still nothing. Well, I got nothing. This last weekend and this weekend have kind of blurred together. I'm still looking for elk. Did I give it my best this weekend? I don't know. I probably could have pushed a little harder. I don't think it would have mattered though. Well, I got Saturday and Sunday of next weekend, and that'll be it for archery. As for this weekend, I'm glad it's over. I just gotta pack it up and head home. You have a good week. Shit, I'm tired. You have a good one, and we'll see you next weekend.